Chapter 211, A Glorious Defeat. At that moment, Tang Wuling gained a newfound appreciation for Wu Zhangkong. The Star God Sword's attack patterns were very similar to Wu Zhangkong's frost scars. Facing her formidable sword technique, Tang Wuling already knew how to retaliate. A radiant strand of blue silver grass sprung up in front of him, golden scales lining it. The strand wrapped along the length of the sword, disturbing its Star God energy and restricting its movement. Most of the sword stabs were blocked by the troublesome grass while his dragon claw held the rest of the attacks at bay. With these defensive measures, he was barely able to endure using England's offensive. Naturally, it was all thanks to Goldlight that his blue silver grass could subdue the explosive Star God energy. He activated Bind, specifically for the strands of blue silver grass encircling the sword, and charged forward with the aid of his spirit soul. An orb of starlight fell onto his blue silver grass, interrupting his soul skill. Ye's England's figure flickered. She bypassed his golden blue silver grass and appeared just before him. She thrusted out her Star God sword, 10 stabs manifesting all at once. Let's see how you deal with this. Ye's England roared. She had never expected that with her abilities, she would have so much difficulty against a mere one-ringed opponent. Though his martial soul was blue silver grass, it wasn't ordinary, a variant. What was most alarming was his golden dragon claw. She felt the greatest threat from his claw and didn't dare let go of her sword. She had a gut feeling that the match would be lost if he managed to grab her sword. Although her Star God sword was powerful, once removed from her grasp, she would be helpless against his spirit soul enhanced blue silver grass. For now, she wanted to see how Tang Wuling would deal with her. Indeed, Tang Wuling found it increasingly hard to block all her attacks. Even if he could sense all of the incoming sword thrusts, his reaction time was too slow. What should I do? In this moment of crisis, he made a valiant choice. Ignoring the incoming stars, Tang Wuling charged toward her, his golden dragon claw serving as the vanguard. He brandished his claw wildly to do two things: protect his body and grab Ye's England. Mutual destruction. Tang Wuling was confident in the destructive power of his claw. He also knew that his body could endure the blow for a brief moment. In that moment before his body collapsed, he would attack her in a frenzy. Shooting stars were lodged into Tang Wuling's golden dragon claw, enveloping him in a bloody aura. The Star God energy was about to erupt, but he was already in front of her. Shock flashed through her eyes. She jabbed her sword forward and activated both her soul rings. A massive starlight descended, encasing her body like a stellar fortress. Multicolored light exploded as the golden claw and the shield of starlight clashed. Yet the starlight shield proved short-lived as Tang Wuling dug his claws into it, tearing the starlight into shreds. The last couple of moves illustrated just what made Ye's England a Shrek student. She bent over backwards, evading the claw by an inch while thrusting her sword simultaneously at Tang Wuling's right armpit. Tang Wuling recoiled his arm, deflecting the sword's path. Finally, Ye's England's defensive maneuvers came to an end. His claw gripped her sword with incredible strength, issuing out a metallic clang. She nearly lost hold of her sword when a sudden wave of force propagated through it. A boom resounded as light shot out from Tang Wuling. With a low groan, his golden dragon claw disappeared and the explosion held him back through the air. Stop! The referee shouted. He flew over to Tang Wuling's side, holding Tang Wuling with one arm. The referee used the other to apply a healing white light on the wounds, preventing further blood loss. Ye's England sat on the ground, staring at Tang Wuling in despondency. Throughout her life, she had never achieved such a difficult victory against a peer. That guy, how is he able to fight so hard? And there's his dragon claw. It's so strong. How was it able to stop my soul skill? I should have been more prepared. Then I wouldn't be in such a situation. Is he okay? Tang Wuling was in a dire state. His body was dyed crimson, face pale and eyes closed. His consciousness had long since been lost. During their final clash, Tang Wuling had held on by sheer will alone. When he could no longer endure the Star God energy, and his soul power collapsed within his body, he was incapacitated by the damage. He could no longer sustain his golden dragon claw either. Yet, if he had been able to persevere for another second, perhaps the outcome of the match would differ. Wu Zhangkong ascended to the stage quickly. He retrieved Tang Wuling from the referee's hold and applied an icy mist onto the wounds. Without sparing Ye's England a single glance, he exited the stage with Tang Wuling in his arms. Gu Yue and Shishi rushed over to their teacher. Upon seeing her bloody comrade, Gu Yue emanated killing intent. A chilling shiver ran down Ye's England's spine as she pushed herself off the ground. She turned toward Gu Yue subconsciously. The two girls' gazes clashed in midair, sparks shooting everywhere. Wu Zhangkong's hands moved in a blur as he examined Tang Wuling. A moment later, he declared, "He's fine. They're just superficial wounds. I'll bring him back first." He lifted Tang Wuling and after a few mystical steps, he disappeared, his silhouette but a dream. The second round of the individual competition concluded. Tang Wuling lost. After Wu Zhangkong left, Yu Yue approached the stage, her eyes gleaming with 6 different glints and her bloodlust exploding. Even Shishi, who was undoubtedly on her side, treated her like a volcano about to erupt. Once she descended from the stage, Ye's England waited for the approaching Gu Yue, not one bit afraid. "I want to challenge you." Gu Yue's voice was ice cold. Ye's England snorted. "I'm only doing one match for the individual competition. If you want to challenge me, then do it in the team competition." She departed after spitting out these words. Gu Yue was about to chase after her, but Shishi restrained her arm. "Don't be impulsive, Gu Yue. She's from Shrek." Gu Yue whipped her head back at Shishi, giving him a fright. "So what if she's from Shrek?" Shishi released her in haste. Embarrassed, he said, "What I'm trying to say is that it won't mean anything unless we defeat them in a fair match. Actually, Wuling was an inch away from victory, so you should have an idea of how strong Shrek is now." Gu Yue's bloodlust gradually subsided, the thick killing intent around her lessening. She snorted before walking away. "Hey, don't you still have your own match?" Shishi called after her. "I'm forfeiting. I'm going to go see Wuling." The instant she finished speaking, she broke into a run. Tang Wuling awoke to a cool sensation. When he opened his eyes, he saw the usual glacial expression of Wu Zhangkong. "Teacher Wu," he called out softly. He struggled to get up, but the tearing pain halted his efforts. Wu Zhangkong glanced at him. "You're awake. You still need to recover." Tang Wuling said, "But, my match." Wu Zhangkong said, "Don't even think about it. Recover first. You've done well today. You had a chance of winning in that match, but what you're lacking now is combat ability. Once you're better, I'll teach you another secret out of the Tang sect." Tang Wuling was at a loss. "But, am I only allowed to learn 2 right now? I've only passed the medium level test so far." Wu Zhangkong said, "A 3rd rank professional can learn an additional secret art. I didn't teach you a 3rd one last time because I was afraid you would be biting off more than you could chew. I'll choose another art that is suitable for you. For now, you just rest and recover. Wuling, you're awake." Gu Yue brought a cup of water over to him. She added a straw for his convenience. "Drink slowly. You don't want to choke." A smile graced Tang Wuling's lips when he saw the concern in her eyes. He drank a bit of water through the straw. "Thank you." "What time is it right now?" Gu Yue answered, "It's just past noon. Are you hungry now? I'll go get you something to eat." Chapter 212, Tough and Thick Skin. Tang Wuling said, "No, it's fine. Don't forget about the match in the afternoon. I might not be able to battle, but you guys still can. Do your best for me. I've already been eliminated from the individual competition, so I only have the team competition left." Gu Yue was dumbfounded. "You still want to compete?" "Of course. You don't have to worry. I'm fine. They're just flesh wounds. I'll be all better by tomorrow." A strange emotion welled in his heart. When he tried to move his body a while ago, he was hit with waves of ache, followed by an eerie numbness that faded into an itch. However, this was a good sign. It meant he was healing quickly. Wu Zhangkong's eyes narrowed. "You felt it too, huh?" Tang Wuling made a confused face. Wu Zhangkong said, "When I was helping you close your wounds, I discovered that your body's recovery ability is abnormally great. The sliced muscles were practically squirming to knit themselves back together, and your other wounds were closing as well. That was the first time I had ever seen something like that. It is probably related to your bloodline. Does your body feel strange anywhere?" Tang Wuling's lips morphed into a wry smile. "Apart from being hungry, I feel fine." Wu Zhangkong nodded. "It seems all that food you eat hasn't gone to waste. Gu Yue, can you fetch some high-protein food for him?" "All right." Gu Yue was overjoyed from Tang Wuling's speedy recovery and rushed off to complete her task. "How do you feel about today's battle?" Wu Zhangkong asked. After a moment of retrospection, Tang Wuling answered, "She's really strong. Her martial soul is powerful and her control is amazing. I can't match her in martial soul control. If it wasn't for my golden dragon claw, I probably wouldn't have stood a chance." Wu Zhangkong made another gesture of approval. "That's right. If she hadn't underestimated you, you wouldn't have stood a chance. Your golden dragon claw can't be sustained for long. If she had been more prepared against you, she could have easily stalled until you ran out of soul power. After a while, you would lose your martial soul's protection and the might of your golden dragon claw. Then defeat would be inevitable. It was only because she was too focused on a quick victory that you had a possibility of winning. You did pretty well, but in order to put perception and control into use, you need a sufficient power base." "Yes." Tang Wuling understood Wu Zhangkong's meaning. He was still too weak. He had only the bind soul skill, and though his control over his blue silver grass had improved, it wasn't at the point of mastery. Furthermore, the mighty golden dragon claw required close combat usage to be most effective. Not only that, but it also couldn't be sustained. The Tang's purple demon eyes was no exception. Its power was not absolute. After all, the technique had been blocked that very day. What he needed was to expand his library of battle skills and increase his overall combat ability. His first time injured so badly, Tang Wuling found his own recovery speed astonishing. This time, he had suffered quite a bit at using Lin's hands. Although his star god energy didn't penetrate into his body, they exploded on his skin. That was more than enough to leave him in that blood-soaked state. Surprisingly, it took him 2 hours after waking up to rise. His wounds were scabbed over like bizarre patchwork on a quilt. By the time night settled, Tang Wuling could walk on his own and left for dinner. Although his body was littered with wounds, concentrated on non-vital areas like his limbs, his rapid healing left his teammates utterly speechless. They gawked and couldn't help but treat him as a monster. Despite Tang Wuling's absence in the team event's second round, his team emerged victorious due to Yue's brazen charge. Their weak opponents were no match against her. She was the sole participant from their group to fight in the individual competition. Tang Wuling was left with the blacksmiths and team competitions. Regardless of his swift recovery, forging required immense amounts of energy. As such, he decided to skip the final round of the blacksmiths competition after careful deliberation with Ken Yue. However, he was guaranteed a spot in the top 2 because he forged a second grade 1000 refined metal. After all, the competition was scored by the sum of all the points obtained, with a significant amount based on the quality of refinement. You couldn't have gotten injured on purpose to make me the champion, right? Muzai had received the news of Tang Wuling's injuries right after dark and ran over immediately. The moment she saw Tang Wuling, her anxiety was washed away. This guy is still gorging himself on food while in bed. He hasn't even slowed down a little from his usual pace. It seems his injuries weren't that serious. Of course not. My opponent was way stronger than me, Tang Wuling said as he continued to nibble on some pork shoulder. Muzai said, it's good if you're alright then. Be careful in the future, and you can rejoice, you little money grubber. I won the championship and the money is yours. Hee hee. Thanks a lot, senior disciple sister. Actually, I really lost this time since I was too injured to compete. You're such a good person though. Muzai giggled. That's enough. Stop flattering me so much. We both know how much you love money. Anyway, are you hungry for anything else? I'll go buy it for you. Eat more and quickly recover. Tang Wuling put down his pork shoulder without a peep. This was the third time that this had happened. Before Muzai came, Gu Yue, Shi, and Xu Shaoan had stopped by with the same offer. Afterward, Ken Yue paid him a visit and did the same. It was finally Muzai's turn. Why does everyone who visits me treat me like a glutton? Even if I really am one, can't they show some tact? Muzai giggled as she looked at Tang Wuling's face that was blushing with embarrassment. Who did you lose to today that left you in such a state? Tang Wuling said, the girl with the sword. He admitted the fact that she was from Shrek since he didn't harbor any grudge against her. Besides, she was just a proud girl. In reality, she had been pulling her punches in today's match, avoiding vital parts. If not, then Tang Wuling wouldn't have been so well off. There was a knock on the door. Muzai cracked it open slightly to check who it was. The little fatty Shu Lizzie stood outside, stunned for an instant at the sight of Muzai. Hello, I'm looking for Tang Wuling. Come on in. Muzai opened the door wide for him. Shu Lizzie's nose twitched a couple of times, his face as fat contorting to squeeze his eyes. Pork shoulder. You have pork shoulder. He walked in, swallowing a gulp of saliva at the sight of the delicacies arrayed before Tang Wuling. Lizzie, you want to join me for a bit? Tang Wuling was taken by surprise at his visit. Shu Lizzie lowered his head. Sorry Wuling. It's all my fault. This all happened because I forgot my money that day and couldn't treat you guys. Xinglin is actually a really good person. She's usually taking care of me. Please don't hold a grudge against her. Tang Wuling shook his head. It's fine. It was a match, you know. It's only natural for there to be some injuries. How could I be angry with her? Just look. Don't I seem better already? We might run into each other later in the team competition. I'll have my teammates with me, so we might just snatch victory from you then. I'm by no means the strongest on my team. Shock crept through Shu Lizzie's face, pupils blown wide. Why you? You're fine. Big Sis England's star god energy is so fearsome, but you're already able to sit up. He had been distracted by the allure of food when he first entered the room. He just noticed Tang Wuling's healthy state, his cheerful feasting the proof of his recovery. Shouldn't he still be severely injured? Tang Wuling said, I eat a lot so my skin is a bit tougher and thicker than normal. Off to the side, Muzai nodded in understanding. Her actions did not go unnoticed by Tang Wuling. Senior disciple sister, if you don't have anything else to do, then you should go back and rest. Chapter 213, the third Tang sect art. Muzai snorted. Are you trying to shoo me away? I'm not leaving then. She plopped herself down on his bedside haughtily. She really is. He was simply helpless in front of his senior disciple sister. Meanwhile, Shu Lizzie circled around Tang Wuling a few times like a shark, inspecting his body. You really are a freak. I can't believe you're already okay. Incredible. With his words dipped in annoyance, Tang Wuling said, You're not just here to look at my wounds, are you? Come eat with me. Your drool is about to hit the floor. Really? Shu Lizzie lowered his voice. You're really not mad at me. Tang Wuling chuckled. It's hard to find a fellow foodie, you know. How could I be angry with you? Besides, didn't you say you would call me big brother since I can out-eat you? What big brother would be angry with their little brother? Such words poked a heavy sigh from Shu Lizzie's mouth, wiping his anxious expression away into a blossoming grin. Yeah, that's right. Since there's good food to be eaten with big brother, don't mind me if I'm rude then. He grabbed a pig trotter and began gnawing on it. Muzai was desperately trying not to laugh. Gluttons can really appreciate one another. Oh, right. Boss, there was something else I came for. Here, I have something good for you to eat. Shu Lizzie raised his hand, gathering soul power within his palm as 2 stunning soul rings rose beneath him. I have a meat bun. After he muttered this verse, light coalesced into a bun in his palms, his first soul ring twinkling like a star in the sky. Both Tang Wuling and Muzai stared wide-eyed at the fatty. You're a food type soul master? Tang Wuling and Muzai exclaimed in unison. Essentially, soul masters were divided into 2 categories, battle and tool types. Food type soul masters were an exceptionally rare type within the tool category. The fact that he was not just a food type soul master, but also had 2 rings at the age of 10, shook their hearts. It was common knowledge that food type soul masters had the hardest time cultivating. The bun should be this guy's martial soul. Tang Wuling recalled the shiny white objects Shu Lizzie had thrown at the beginning of the exhibition match. Now he knew that they hadn't been steamed buns, but stuffed buns. Meat stuffed buns. This really is. After accepting the bun, he sunk his teeth into it, a puff of steam escaping from the newfound opening. Not only was it fragrant, it was stuffed to the brim with meat soaked in a rich broth. Once he devoured the bun in a few bites, warmth permeated his body. Soul power stirred within him, increasing his recovery speed. A proud look crossed Shu Lizzie's face. My first soul skill is recovery pork bun. Eating it will restore your physical strength and your soul power. It's really helpful in the middle of battle too. It even has a constitution strengthening effect. It should help you recover. Do you want to eat a few more? Sure. In the end, Tang Wuling savored more than 10 tasty meat buns. He could feel a noticeable surge in his healing speed, his soul power recovering completely. In contrast, Shu Lizzie was only slightly exhausted. It's a miraculous martial soul. Tang Wuling cried out. Shu Lizzie straightened his back with pride. Of course. I'm a food type soul master who has innate full soul power that you can only encounter once every 100 years. I'm already guaranteed a spot in the inner court. When they tested my talent, they said it was even greater than Big Sis England's. The 2 little gluttons continued to attack the pile of food. At the sight of their joyful feasting, even Muzai grew tempted by Shu Lizzie's meat buns. Once she tasted one for herself, she understood their incredible appeal. Tang Wuling sighed in his heart. If Shu Lizzie could just stay by my side forever, then I wouldn't have to ever worry about food. That would be amazing. Shu Lizzie's pork buns' efficacy was not exaggerated. Tang Wuling was fully healed by the time he started cultivating the next morning. His scabs peeling away to reveal delicate skin. You've recovered even faster than I imagined. Wu Zhangkong stood at Tang Wuling's side. The master and disciple duo were cultivating the purple demon eyes together. As a fellow Tang sect disciple, she had chosen 2 secret arts too, but neither were the purple demon eyes. He had selected the mysterious heaven method and the ghost shadow perplexing track. Wu Zhangkong asked, are you still competing in the blacksmiths competition? Tang Wuling shook his head. With second place secured, there was no point in him going. It would be fine to give his senior disciple sister first place. That's good then. Let's go back to the room. I'll teach you another secret art of the Tang sect. A tremble ran down Tang Wulin's spine, hairs springing up from his skin. I'm going to learn another Tang sect art. I wonder what it will be. The mysterious heaven method increased his cultivation speed while also compressing his soul power, boosting his stamina in battle. The purple demon eyes, on the other hand, enhanced his control and served as another form of attack. Most important of all was that it was a spiritual power cultivation method. Without it, he wouldn't have been able to evolve his spirit soul. Just what would the third Tang sect art be? He trusted that Wu Zhangkong would not do him wrong in selecting his third art. Once they returned to his room, Wu Zhangkong closed the window blinds and lit a soul lamp. I'm sure you're aware of your martial soul's innate weakness. Though you've upgraded it to the 1000-year level, that doesn't make up for its core shortcomings. There is no way it can ever compare with those first-rate martial souls. However, your advantage lies in your transformed body. Your body is far stronger than a normal person's. In fact, it's several times so, especially when your bloodline is stirred and your golden scales appear. Thus, what's important right now is for you to increase your control over your martial soul. When you choose a soul skill in the future, develop in that direction while keeping your body as your main form of attack. I don't know how much more your body will mutate, so we'll take one step at a time for now. At the moment, the most fitting Tang sect art for you is controlling crane, capturing dragon. Controlling crane, capturing dragon. These 4 words penetrated Tang Wulin deeply, arousing an ineffable feeling within him. Wu Zhangkong nodded. According to the rules of the Tang sect, every new member may choose one art to practice. Once they've passed the middle level test, they can pick a second art. They can learn a third art once they reach the 3rd rank in a profession. Anyone who joins the sect by passing the high level test will also have the privilege to choose 3. However, you can only learn up to 3 arts for free. In other words, even if you pass the high level test and reach 3rd rank in a profession, you can still only learn 3 Tang sect arts. Tang Wulin gaped, fish-eyed. Then, what do I do if I want to learn other Tang sect arts in the future? Wu Zhangkong said, you'll need to exchange contribution points at the sect for them. After all, the Tang sect can't just operate on nothing. The sect needs to grow too. Once we return to East Sea City, you can go take a look at our local branch. With your current profession rank, you should qualify for some sect missions. There, you'll learn how to earn the right to additional Tang sect arts. Furthermore, you can also trade with other sect members for points. Okay. Excitement sparked within Tang Wulin like a lit firework. To him, contributing to the sect wasn't bothersome. Besides, he had to repay the sect for the teachings he received. By doing so, he would gain more from the Tang sect. Generally speaking, everyone will pick the mysterious heaven method when they first join since it's the basis of all Tang sect arts. For that reason, I had both you and Shishi select this art. You chose the purple demon eye second for its effect on your spiritual power. Picking controlling crane, capturing dragon for the 3rd is to increase your dexterity. If you're able to use the art skillfully, it can become powerful for both attack and defense. Watch. As he spoke, Wu Zhangkong beckoned to a table on the side, drawing it toward him with some sort of soft, undulating energy. An instant later, a pen container flew in his direction, entering his hands with a soft thud. This is controlling crane. He pushed with his right hand, sending the pen container zipping through the air. Once out of his grasp, however, it did not fall and swayed in tune with Wu Zhangkong's actions. This is capturing dragon. Controlling crane. Capturing dragon is actually divided into 2 parts. One is the technique for controlling crane, and the other is for capturing dragon. Pay attention to your control of soul power when you practice it. If you can increase your proficiency, then it's like possessing another pair of powerful soul skills. If your mastery reaches the peak, then controlling crane. Capturing dragon can even manipulate a mountain. The mysterious heaven method is the foundation of controlling crane. Capturing dragon. The greater your soul power, the mightier this art becomes. Wu Zhangkong pressed a palm toward Tang Wulin. This created a force of attraction between the two, causing Tang Wulin to stumble forward and fall flat on his face. Chapter 214, Controlling Crane, Capturing Dragon. Wu Zhangkong thrust his palm forward, shooting Tang Wulin backward to the wall like an arrow. A split second before he slammed into the wall, an attractive force gripped him, suspending him in the air. He descended to the ground. It feels so strange. Being as clever as he was, he understood what this mystical sensation was. Ideas began popping up one after another on how he could incorporate Controlling Crane, Capturing Dragon into his arsenal. He could draw his opponents toward him using this art, placing them within attack range of his golden dragon claw. This would tremendously improve the effectiveness of his golden dragon claw. Even Yu Zinglan, a Shrek Academy student who wielded the powerful Star God sword, treated his claw as a serious threat. The magnificence of Controlling Crane, Capturing Dragon struck him. This art would maximize the brief window of time in which he could utilize his claw. So it's like this. I'll teach you the basics of Controlling Crane first. Memorize this. Controlling crane is built upon your foundation from the mysterious heaven method. You circulate the soul power in your dantian and then move it along this meridian. As he guided Tang Wulin through the process with his own soul power, a string of detailed instructions flooded out of Wu Zhangkong's mouth. Tang Wulin soon discovered that controlling crane and the mysterious heaven method shared several circulation paths. He circulated his soul power according to the mysterious heaven method, spinning it within his meridians and into his palm to create an attractive force. For the rest of the morning, he immersed himself in practicing controlling crane. Unlike with the purple demon eyes, Tang Wulin wrestled with its application. Despite receiving Wu Zhangkong's guidance, he struggled with the basics, needing more time to put it to practical use. Tang sect arts are so mysterious. Tang Wulin applauded his decision in joining the Tang sect. As a one-ring soul master, his greatest weakness was the number of rings he held. The Tang sect's secret arts were the perfect remedies. How are you feeling? Can you compete today? After lunch, Douluo bombarded Tang Wulin with questions. Tang Wulin responded with a nod. Of course I can. Oh yeah, it should be a round robin now, right? According to the rules of the competition, 36 teams would battle it out in a round robin tournament after the 2 initial knockout rounds. This segment divided the remaining teams into 4 groups, each consisting of 9 teams. Every team would participate in 8 matches and fight the other teams in their group one by one. Winning a match earned them 2 points while a loss gained a grand total of 0. If they somehow fought to a draw, then both teams would receive 1 point. After each team had fought against every team in their group, the top 4 of each group would advance. A total of 16 teams were given this honor. From there, a final knockout tournament would be held until the champion team emerged. Only the top 16 received awards. These rules applied to both the youth and adult division. For Tang Wulin's team's first 2 matches, Lady Luck had smiled down upon them. They didn't chance upon hidden tigers but rather docile cats now. It was time for the round robin. Yeah. We're in the 3rd group, Shishi said. Tang Wulin asked, have you guys investigated our opponent's strengths yet? Shishi shook his head. I couldn't find anything at all. There were too many people to investigate and even when we were watching the others battle, we were acting like pure spectators. We'll have to adapt to the situation. Fortunately, I heard that those 2 from Shrek aren't in our group. Great. We're not meeting them in this mini competition. Both Tang Wulin and Yu Zinglan were well aware of how they compared against each other. He was no match for her, and if she had been more cautious, Tang Wulin wouldn't have lasted as long as he did. But now, it was the team competition, where a single individual strength did not make or break the battle. He had confidence in his teammates. Then it'll be us 3 battling with Xiaoan as the substitute. Sounds good. Tang Wulin confirmed with Xu Xiaoan, nodding and beaming a smile. She answered, Captain, I heard that the finals will be held at night to maximize viewership. The gears in Tang Wulin's head spun into action, each cog interlocking with and leading the other. This was a critical piece of information that would change their tactics. The Sky Sea Alliance tournament had gone on for a few days now, with the blacksmith competition rankings already announced. The champion was Muzai, the daughter of the 8th rank blacksmith, Yu Chen. This outcome had long been predicted by those of the blacksmithing world. After all, Yu Chen was the sole 8th rank blacksmith in the Sky Sea Alliance. Although East Sea City lacked in other aspects, its blacksmiths were excellent. Yu Chen was revered in the Sky Sea Alliance. Even so, the blacksmith competition was a major attraction, especially the junior division. Regardless of the field, geniuses needed time to be polished like a lump of raw jade. A truly peerless blacksmith in theory would be no less than 40 years old. The competitions for mecha craftsmen, design designers and mechanics were still in progress. Compared to the blacksmithing competition, these events boasted a structure that was far more complex. Of course, Soulmaster events were the most popular. Whether it was the individual or team competitions, it was a feast for the eyes that came once every 3 years. Among the Soulmaster events, the finals for the 7-man, 5-man, and 3-man team competitions received the highest ratings. The junior division's ratings, however, paled in comparison with the adults, since the former's average cultivation level wavered around 2 rings. Thus, the 3-man team competition was scheduled for the afternoon while the 7-man was scheduled for the night. This was prime time, when viewership would be at its peak. Those with deep pockets could be found in the spectator stands while those without would watch it at home on their Soul TV. SkySea Stadium, Box 7. This seating belonged to the VIPs in attendance. A towering glass screen faced the stadium, allowing those within a clear view of the battles. The glass screen also doubled as a Soul screen that let the occupants select any match to watch. It didn't matter if those battles were in progress or had ended. Currently, 2 people stood in front of the screen. One was a man with long hair, snow white strands drifting in the wind and blending in with his pure white attire. Wu Zhangkong. Standing beside him was a lady about 26 years old. She was extremely pretty with a head of exotic long white hair. She was clad in dark green sportswear. Her viridian eyes twinkled with both vitality and ferocity. Her white hair and Wu Zhangkong's white robe seemed perfectly coordinated. I only let her stir things up because they're your disciples, you know? Aren't you the least bit worried? The pale-haired lady cracked a wry smile. Wu Zhangkong asked indifferently, why would I be worried? She raised a brow. It seems you're quite confident in your disciples. Do you think your teaching skills already surpass the academies? Wu Zhangkong shook his head. I've long since stopped caring about victory or defeat. I didn't have them compete with aims of victory. How's the kid from yesterday doing? He has a variant martial soul, right? The white-haired lady asked. He shot her a look. If I told you that I'm not sure what's going on with his body either, would you believe me? The woman was stunned. I'll believe you. When has Sky Ice Wu Zhangkong ever told a lie? But really? Even you don't know. That's really strange then. Chapter 215. Tactfully declining temptation. Wu Zhangkong said, his martial soul was originally ordinary blue silver brass and his spirit soul was weak as well. However, his body is extraordinary. The reason I am perplexed is because his bloodline's evolution and his martial soul affect one another. Even stranger is that his bloodline's mutations have nothing to do with his martial soul. Although they're 2 completely different existences, they're not twin martial souls. It's my first time encountering something like this. Do you want to bring him back to the academy? We can ask some of the elders to examine him. The white-haired lady said, her words pleasing to the ear. Wu Zhangkong's expression grew stern, but he soon shook his head with resolution. No. If they're going to attend the academy, then it will be through their own ability and nothing else. A gentle sigh escaped from the woman's lips. Are you still mad at them? Actually, the situation back then. Don't say anymore. I don't hold any grudges against them. If I did, then it's only toward myself. I'm just a dead man walking now. I wouldn't mind dying if I wasn't still looking for a way to revive her. Pain flashed through his eyes, sharp and blinding. You're so stubborn. The lady sighed in exasperation. Wu Zhangkong's expression flickered back into a frigid tone. The remnants of sorrow all but a dream. If I wasn't, then would I still be me? The lady laughed. That's right. If you weren't like this, you wouldn't be the man in white who brandishes a blue sword and is as cold as the frozen heavens. You wouldn't be the man that long being loved. Wu Zhangkong watched the matches silently, but his eyes were glazed over. In the deepest depths of his mind, countless memories played back. A while later, he muttered under his breath, Shen Yi. I went to visit her a few days ago. The lady named Shen Yi stirred. You visited Heaven Dou? Will you really never return to the academy? Don't you know how much your teacher grieved after you left? Agony haunted his expression. I'm not worthy of my teacher. I'm too ashamed to go back. Shen Yi said, are you raising these children to send off to the academy as an apology to your teacher? Wu Zhangkong remained silent. Shen Yi sighed. You're wrong. No one can replace you, doctor. Only person who can make up for it is yourself. After all, you're still alive. You should return already. Due to the strict schedules of the round robin, the 4 students of Class 0 arrived at the stadium early. Each group had its own program. With 9 teams per group, there would be 1 by each day. Class 0 wasn't fortunate enough to have a bye in the first round. Their opponent was SkySea Academy's B team. For cities as large as SkySea City or East Sea City, it was normal to send up to 3 teams to compete in one division. Tang Wulin's team was also one of several teams East Sea Academy dispatched, the youngest among them. SkySea Academy was the greatest intermediate academy within the SkySea Alliance. As such, even their B team's strength ranked at the top. Adapt to the situation as you see fit, but we'll battle according to the plan, Tang Wulin declared in a whisper. They had already watched several of their opponents' matches during the knockout competition. Regardless of combat ability or cultivation, their opponents stood out in their age group. Gu Yue said, Wulin, are you sure you're fine? Her concern was natural since he had been seriously injured the day before. A gentle smile blossomed on his lips. I'm fine. Don't worry, Tang Wulin. Suddenly, an unfamiliar voice called out. Tang Wulin turned to see a white-haired old man and a middle-aged man approaching him. The white-haired man had 2 calloused hands and walked in front, his large body bursting with vigor. He carried the imposing aura of a prestigious person. Hello, you're looking for me. Tang Wulin was certain that this man was not part of East Sea City's delegation. Therefore, he did not recognize him. I heard you were injured in a match yesterday and couldn't participate in the final round of the blacksmithing tournament. The old man stopped right in front of Tang Wulin. He stood abnormally tall, towering over the rest of the crowd. Even Tang Wulin, who was by no means short among his peers, only reached up to the man's belly. That's right. I got a bit injured. I was worried about aggravating the wounds, so I didn't compete, he confirmed. The old man said, I'm the president of the SkySea Blacksmiths Association, Duan, but you can just call me Elder Duan. You're very talented in forging. It's a pity you couldn't participate in the final round. Tang Wulin was stunned. SkySea Blacksmiths Association's president. Hello, Elder Duan. I'll do my best next time, he said respectfully. Duan smiled. So here's the situation. SkySea City has a recommendation program for talented individuals. When I saw your work, I could tell you have great potential. Are you interested in coming to SkySea City to develop yourself? He's recruiting me. Tang Wulin instantly understood Duanson's intentions. Elder Duan, I'm afraid I'll have to refuse, he said hastily. Although he hadn't lived in East Sea City for more than a year, he had already laid down roots in the city. Wu Zhangkong and Mu Chen were both excellent teachers to him. It was thanks to their guidance that he had grown so much in the past year. He had no reason to uproot his life. Duanson said, don't refuse so quickly, kid. Hear out this old man's conditions first. I'm sure you're aware SkySea City is the largest city on the East Coast. It stands above East Sea City in both political and economic power. Whatever East Sea Blacksmiths Association can give you, we can also do the same. Furthermore, we can pay for all of your forging expenses before you become a saint blacksmith. You should know just how much money and time it costs to attack spirit refinement. Many blacksmiths waste enormous amounts of time, money, and energy once the time comes. Considering your talent, we're more than willing to pay for your expenses until you break through spirit refinement. We also guarantee to support you in the future and foster your growth to at least a soul emperor. This is what we're offering. How about it? Tang Wulin had to admit, this Duanson really knew how to tempt people. Covering the costs of becoming a saint blacksmith and guaranteeing to make him a soul emperor was too alluring. It was an irresistible offer for any blacksmith, and even Tang Wulin was shaken. If he accepted Elder Duan's offer, then SkySea's Blacksmiths Association would assist him in becoming a 6th rank blacksmith. That rank alone would make him an influential person in the blacksmithing world. Thank you for your offer. Tang Wulin bowed to Elder Duan, but I cannot accept. I already have a teacher. I am a member of East Sea Blacksmiths Association. Your offer is tempting, but I cannot betray my conscience. His words were polite, but his refusal was as firm as a mountain. Duanson was taken aback. Kid, do you have any idea just how much resources and money I'm offering you? It's simply an astronomical figure. Even if you're lucky and capable, you'll probably need an extra 10 years to accomplish the same thing. In fact, it might take even longer. How much do you think 10 years of a person's life is? If you miss the golden period, you will have a much harder time becoming a saint blacksmith. I'm certain that East Sea's Blacksmiths Association cannot give you what I can. Tang Wulin carried himself with determination. Elder Duan, I must thank you once again. However, I truly cannot accept. I understand how valuable what you're offering me is, but I already have a teacher. I cannot betray my teacher. His words were resolute and quick. After expressing his refusal once more, he hung his head low like a child guilty of a mistake. Duanson's brows creased. The middle-aged man beside him stepped forward and was about to put in a few words, but Duanson raised a hand to stop him. The old man sighed. What a good kid. Mu Chen is so lucky. If ECC isn't enough for you one day, then you may join us. Our doors will forever be open to you. He rubbed Tang Wulin's head before turning around, leaving with large strides. As a man of his status, it wouldn't be appropriate for him to insist after rejection. Not a single word left Tang Wulin's mouth until Douluo was long gone. The conditions seemed pretty good. Why did you reject it? Do you not want to leave us? She grinned like a fox. Tang Wuling forced out a bitter smile. How was that just pretty good? It was so amazing that I don't think it could have gotten any better. You guys might not know this, but spirit refinement is something only 5th rank blacksmiths can do, and it's one of the most important steps in a blacksmith's life. It's extremely hard to break through that wall, and to do so requires a lot of expensive metals. And if the forging fails, then the metal is no better than scrap metal. Just think about all that money down the drain. Chapter 216. True intentions. Astonished, she said, "You like money so much. So why didn't you agree?" A frown slid across Tang Wuling's face. "Didn't you see how quickly I rejected him? I was afraid I would give in if I didn't do it fast enough. The conditions were just too good. Even so, my teacher has treated me well, and I don't want to part with you guys. I still have several years before it's time for me to attempt spirit refinement. If I focus on building my foundation right now, maybe I'll be able to succeed without wasting too many resources. You know. All right, our match is about to begin." As he spoke, he led the way onto the stage. Douluo ascended the stairs until he reached a box on the upper floor. The men who had followed him stood guard outside while Yulon entered box 3. Inside sat a middle-aged man. "Teacher." He bowed respectfully in greeting when he saw Douluo. Douluo joined his side. Together, they viewed the ongoing matches. "Your eyes are sharp. You picked up a good kid. It's almost like the time I found you. You know, he refused me. He's even more talented than me when I was his age. I haven't told you yet, but he's already a 4th rank blacksmith." The middle-aged man revealed a splendid grin. If Tang Wulin was present, he would be startled without a doubt. The person waiting for Douluo in box 3 was his teacher. "Mu Chen, 4th rank? Are you joking with me?" As Douluo stared at Mu Chen, his face was the picture of shock. Mu Chen chuckled. "There's no way I would joke about something like this. He's far more talented than you could imagine. If it wasn't for his low cultivation, I think he could attempt spirit refinement in 2 years should the materials be provided." Douluo heaved a long sigh. "All right. Did you hide him from me because you were worried I would seduce him away from you? Why does it seem like his 2nd grade 1000 refined metal had nothing to do with luck?" Mu Chen said, "Out of respect for the rank, I wouldn't promote him to the 4th rank so easily. I only let him advance when he proved capable of 2nd grade 1000 refining blue coppertite. My daughter's luck is pretty good though. Her sudden breakthrough was completely unexpected. I think Wulin instigated it. He wouldn't pick heavy silver normally. Didn't you say the two of them started and finished together? It seems news I was influenced by him." Douluo muttered, "Blessed by heaven. He's really blessed by heaven. It looks like I'll have to work harder to steal him." Mu Chen smiled. Yes. I understand what you're trying to say. I'll be sure to fulfill our promise, but I'm going to need another 15 to 20 years to raise this kid. Once he catches up to me, I'll continue." Douluo grumbled. 15 to 20 years. My bones will have turned to ash by then. Roaring laughter exploded from Mu Chen. "Don't pretend in front of me. At your cultivation level and body strength, you could easily live another 50 years. You're still such a schemer. Don't tell me you forbade me from announcing I'm your disciple in case this day ever came." The wrinkled face of Douluo unfolded into a grin. "Us blacksmiths have been suppressed for too long, yet even during this time, preparation is the key to success. If you told the world that you're my disciple, would you still have received the headquarters support and reached the 8th rank so soon? Humph. Just wait until that kid matures, then things will start to change. Take advantage of your youth and put in some more effort. Hurry up and advance to the next rank. As long as you can become a divine blacksmith, then our backing will grow even stronger." Mu Chen sighed. "That's hard. The higher I climb, the more I understand just how difficult it is." Tang Wulin, Shishi, and Gu Yue ascended onto the stage, taking a triangle formation. He was the vanguard while Shishi and Gu Yue flanked him on each side. Their opponents had climbed onto the stage as well, 3 youngsters about 14 years old. The opposing 3 were dressed in Sky Academy uniforms. Their bearing was different from that of Tang Wulin's first opponents. They carried themselves calmly without any signs of contempt toward Class Zero's age. The 3 youths also arranged themselves in a triangle formation. Their leader towered over Tang Wulin by a full head. He had wide shoulders and his demeanor tranquil beyond his years. The 2 combatants behind their leader were slightly younger than him. The one on the left was slender and handsome while the one on the right stood short and stout. "Hello, I am the captain of Sky Academy's 2nd team, Byran." The slender youth said, "I'm Wu Yuhan." The stumpy one said, "I'm Lei Jun." Finished with their self-introductions, the 3 said in unison, "Please advise us." They were worthy of being Sky Academy students. Their manners were far more refined than those of Tang Wulin's previous opponents. "I'm Tang Wulin from East Sea Academy, in Class 0 of the 1st grade." Tang Wulin mimicked the other team, introducing himself. "Shishi." "Gu Yue." Byran narrowed his eyes at Tang Wulin until they became slits. He released a domineering aura, sending a chill through Tang Wulin's heart. From that display of strength, Tang Wulin could tell that Byran's soul power exceeded his own. 3, 2, 1, begin. This marked the start of Class Zero's first match in the round-robin tournament. Byran raised his right hand, an ashen light surging out to form a shield. Meanwhile, his soul rings rose from beneath his feet. 1 ring, 2 rings, 3 rings. He wielded 3 yellow soul rings. The captain of Sky Academy's secondary team was actually a 3-ring soul elder. Following their leader, Wu Yuhan and Lei Jun released their martial souls, each of them sporting a pair of yellow soul rings, a 3-ring soul elder, and a pair of 2-ring soul grandmasters. Compared to Class Zero's earlier opposition, Sky C's team was an ambush of tigers. In Byran's hands rested a giant shield 1 meter in length and half a meter wide. Wave-like patterns cascaded down the top, making the surface seem thick yet stagnant. He held it in front of him as if it was an impassable wall. The moment he summoned his martial soul, he charged Tang Wulin like a bull. Wu Yuhan and Lei Jun trailed behind him, maintaining their triangle formation. Class Zero, however, chose to abandon their positioning. Shishi summoned his light dragon dagger before dashing off to the side. On the other hand, Tang Wulin stood steadfast, anchoring himself in place. His purple soul ring twinkled as he weaved the protective net of blue silver brass in front of Gu Yue. A 1,000-year soul ring, and only one? Byran balked at the purple soul ring. As for the blue silver brass, it was unrecognizable to him. After 2 evolutions from the influence of his golden dragon king bloodline, it barely resembled the normal appearance. Each vine was as thick as an egg, its length shimmering with azure light and covered in twinkling scales. Within it, golden veins spread throughout like a spider's web. Its aura was sparkling and clear. Behind Byran's left, Wu Yuhan's first soul ring lit up. His body swelled with power while cobalt and violet tendrils of electricity danced about his form. His arms lengthened and grew more muscular, razor-sharp claws sprouting from his fingertips. Martial soul, Thunder Wolf. Sparks also curled around Lei Jun's being, but unlike with Wu Yuhan, they were pure electricity. Electric snakes slithered out of his body, converging into a ball in front of him. Lightning shot out of Wu Yuhan, zigzagging toward Tang Wulin. At the same time, Lei Jun launched his rippling electric sphere straight at Tang Wulin. It was a pincer attack. Chapter 217, the tip of Class Zero. Mid-charge, Byran suddenly crouched 10 meters away from Tang Wulin. His first soul ring lit up and he rushed forward with renewed vigor, his shield held in front of him. The 3 simultaneously attacked Tang Wulin. It seemed they planned on dealing with him first. Unease gripped Byran's heart in a tight fist. Although Tang Wulin only had 1 soul ring, it was at the 1,000-year level. He revised his impression of Tang Wulin as the most dangerous opponent. Tang Wulin stood steadfast in the face of the oncoming assault. With his speed, it was impossible to dodge all 3 attacks. Strands of grass shot at Wu Yuhan in an effort to bind his transformed body while scales rippled into existence on Tang Wulin's right arm as he defiantly reached out to grab the lightning ball. A silver hammer materialized in his left hand and he smashed it down upon the shield. He actually planned to hold back all 3 with just himself. Even the referee was shocked. A 1-ring soulmaster wanted to battle with 3 soulmasters that had higher cultivation bases than him. The first to clash was Wu Yuhan. Facing the variant blue silver brass, he dared not be careless. Combat classes at Sky Academy had taught them to spare no effort regardless of their opponent. Tang Wulin's purple soul ring had alarmed them. Although it was only his first soul ring, they dared not underestimate the power of a 1,000-year soul skill. With this in mind, Wu Yuhan did not hesitate to activate his second soul skill. Electricity exploded from his body to form a spherical aura of lightning around him and repelled the blue silver grass. Without the grass in his way, Wu Yuhan lunged at Tang Wulin. At that moment, however, one vine among the many brightened as gold color seeped into its veins. It swerved around the electric barrier, circling the perimeter and quickly tightened, breaking through the lightning to bind Wu Yuhan. and at that moment, Lei Jun's lightning ball reached Tang Wuling. Tang Wuling's scaled hand suddenly transformed into the golden dragon claw and crushed the ball within his fist. A few sparks of electricity escaped from between his grip, dispersing instantly. Bang! The heavy silver hammer struck the charging shield. Iron Wave Shield. This was by Rand's martial soul. As the name implied, the Iron Wave Shield possessed layers of waves that bolstered its strength. His first soul skill was Iron Wave Strike, a skill that combined both attack and defense. Coincidentally, his Iron Wave Strike was a 3-layered attack. However, he was up against the 1,000 refined heavy silver hammer, which had a thrice-stacked effect. Both Tang Wuling and Bai Ran trembled as they collided. Similar to Tang Wuling, Bai Ran possessed innate heavenly strength. When combined with his Iron Wave Shield and soul skill, he held absolute confidence in his strength. Unfortunately, his opponent was the monster Tang Wuling. The chasm between heavenly and divine strength was unbridgeable. Even though there was a large gap between their soul power levels, Tang Wuling's pure strength more than made up for it. After their clash, Tang Wuling swayed while Bai Ran was forced back a step. Every single spectator watching the match sucked in a deep breath subconsciously. It was 1 versus 3. Yet not only was Tang Wuling standing, he had dominated them. It was simply unfathomable. The assault of the Sky Sea Academy's secondary team had suddenly encountered an iron gate, forcing them to a screeching halt. Tang Wuling swung his claw at the Iron Wave Shield. Close quarters combat was his favorite. A figure also appeared behind Wu Yuhan. It was Shi, attacking with his light dragon storm. To one side, a giant ball of water suddenly dropped on top of Lei Jun when he was just about to launch his second soul skill. The water soaking him conducted his electricity and completely dispersed it, draining him of soul power. Bang! Another dull thud later, Bai Ran was sent flying while blue silver grass converged on him. Although Tang Wuling's golden dragon claw hadn't crushed Bai Ran's Iron Wave Shield, it left a deep claw print. Bai Ran felt as though he had been run over by a ferocious soul beast. Just trying to keep his shield intact had required all his soul power. Feeling overwhelmed, he had no choice but to activate his third soul skill. The Iron Wave Shield tripled in size and doubled in thickness, standing as a steady wall in front of him. But in the time it took him to activate it, vines of blue silver grass had already slithered around his body, trapping him. A green light flashed and a cool breeze enveloped Tang Wuling's feet. Meanwhile, a portion of his blue silver grass encroached upon the wet Lei Jun water conduct's electricity, thus rapidly sapping Lei Jun's soul power. What was most tragic, however, was that the water soon froze into ice, leaving him incapable of defending against Tang Wuling's bind. Tang Wuling brazenly charged at the 3-ringed defense type soul master, Bai Ran. Bang, 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 bang. The golden dragon claw struck 5 times in a row. Bai Ran had nearly coughed up blood after the first assault. He simply couldn't fathom how a person could possess so much strength. Despite using his third soul skill, the might of the golden dragon claw forced him to pour all his soul power into the shield lest it shatters. It was a 3-ringed battling for 1-ring soul master, yet Tang Wuling's innate divine strength elevated him to the same level. 1 claw strike forced Bai Ran back 1 step. 5 strikes set him backing up 5 steps. Anxiety was a hard knot in the pit of his stomach. After the successive attacks from Tang Wuling, the claw print on his shield had deepened and it was on the verge of shattering. Stop. The referee's voice was Bai Ran's saving grace. His legs softened and he nearly collapsed onto the ground. It was only by leaning on his shield that he was able to remain standing. The referee had protected Wu Yuhan from the unnoticed light dragon storm. As for Lei Jun, row upon row of icicles floated in the air surrounding him, ready to impale him at a moment's notice. Frozen and restricted by blue silver grass, he was practically a lump of meat on the chopping block. The match is finished. It's the victory of East Sea Academy's Class 0. After recalling his blue silver grass and letting his hand return to normal, Tang Wuling extended a hand to pull up the nearly collapsed Bai Ran. Senior, thanks for letting me win. At the sight of Tang Wuling's dazzling smile, Bai Ran found his lips twitching too. He couldn't accept losing this fast to someone with a weaker cultivation than him, but so what? A loss was a loss. Yu Yue and Shi regrouped at Tang Wuling's side. Although they had crucial roles in this battle, the star was undoubtedly Tang Wuling. Not only had he withstood the combined assault of 3 people stronger than him, he had also controlled the battlefield to set up an easy win for them. Bai Ran struggled to stand up, his right arm still quivering from the strength of Tang Wuling's strikes. He faintly heard Shi mumble to himself, 3 rings isn't that great after all. He nearly coughed up blood at those words. Tang Wuling shared a similar sentiment with Shi. Despite having 3 rings, the amount of pressure Bai Ran exerted on him couldn't compare with his England. Naturally, this was also part of the reason he could single-handedly restrain 3 opponents today. Their strongest opponent today was a defense-type soulmaster. Even if defense-type soulmasters excelled in close-quarters combat, so too did Tang Wuling, as it was only in this type of combat could Tang Wuling display the tyrannical might of his golden dragon claw. Bai Ran had been unable to take the advantage with his soul skills, and from there, it was all downhill for him. Tang Wuling's claw possessed as much strength as a 3-ringed power-type soulmaster, not to mention the claw's crushing effect. Bai Ran hadn't stood a chance. In truth, Bai Ran was quite lucky. Not all 6 of Tang Wuling's claw attacks had been imbued with the crushing effect. If it had, he would have been defeated even faster. It hadn't activated because the effect was more likely to appear when used on living beings. Round Robin Tournament's first round. Victory. In box 7. They're pretty good. It was Shen Yi's first time watching Class 0 battle. She had specially enlarged their match on the screen. Tang Wuling's display of strength left a deep impression on her. Is his right arm the bloodline mutation you spoke of? Shen Yi asked Wu Zhangkong. Wu Zhangkong nodded. A slight smile appeared on Shen Yi's lips. He's really not simple at all. In my opinion, he doesn't just have a bloodline mutation, his talent is good too. He's suited for leading. Chapter 218. Guide rather than oppose. Wu Zhangkong nodded once more. Shen Yi continued on. Hai's first soul ring is purple and his physique is excellent. Did you raise him to be like this? If he has 3 rings by the time he's 15, his body will likely transform again. You have an eye for disciples. Wu Zhangkong said. If you have time you can continue watching their matches. I'm going for now. He stood up to depart, his white robes fluttering along his strides. Shen Yi watched as he left, blinking a few times. A pensive look settled on her face as she lost herself in contemplation. Within box 3. Whether it was Mu Chen or Duan Sun, both wore faces of shock. For Mu Chen, this was his first time seeing Tang Wuling battle. He had rushed over not too long ago. Gaining experience or securing a spot in future tournaments was not why he had Tang Wuling compete. However, those reasons did serve as adequate veils masking his true intentions. It was more important to examine Tang Wuling's temperament. The most crucial aspect of a master and disciple relationship was not the disciple's ability to receive the teachings. Rather, it was that the disciple has an upstanding character. If problems arose and the student surpassed the teacher, then the former's immoral character would lead to ruin. Tang Wuling was not shy about his love for money. Consequently, Mu Chen concocted this trap to entice him. In the end, Tang Wuling's nobility triumphed over his greed, much to Mu Chen's satisfaction. Mu Chen had not been skeptical about whether Tang Wuling would pass this test. After all, Tang Wuling was at an easily influenced age. With Mu Chen guiding him like a hen would its chicks, there was no reason to be worried. Despite that, Tang Wuling was maturing too quickly. Against all expectations, he advanced to the 4th rank in less than a year. The association needed to invest more resources into him in order to facilitate his growth. They chose to use the Sky Sea Alliance tournament as a test to determine how successful their efforts had been. The results were satisfactory. Tang Wuling gave up first place to Mu Zai willingly and declined Duan Sun's tempting offer. Furthermore, he displayed tremendous battle strength. Mu Chen was pleasantly surprised. I didn't think this brat's combat ability would be so great. With a single ring, he beat a 3-ring opponent, and his 1 ring is of the 1,000-year level. Those spirit items I helped him by were probably used to help refine his body, Mu Chen said with a smile. After a moment of stupor, Duan Sun's brows creased. You think this is a good thing? Mu Chen was taken aback. Teacher, what's wrong with it? Duan Sun sighed gently, his concern apparent. If he has talent as a soul master, then would he spend energy on blacksmithing? We want him to become a divine blacksmith or a battle armor master, you know? A trace of a smile flickered on Mu Chen's lips. I've already thought of an answer to this problem. Long ago, I had asked him what his dream was. He told me he wanted to become a battle armor master. I support his plan. Astonishment filled Duan Sun's eyes. You're in favor of this? Mu Chen nodded. His martial soul and body are quite peculiar. As a blacksmith, he has been blessed by heaven. He possesses not just innate divine strength but also piercing insight. In fact, his cultivation can't keep up with his talent for blacksmithing at the moment. It's a shackle restraining him to the 4th rank. To him, blacksmithing is a tool to earn money. Unlike other trades like mecha crafting and designing, blacksmithing is not tied directly to battle armor masters. However, it will still be highly beneficial in achieving his goals. I dare say, becoming a saint blacksmith would be more helpful than becoming a mecha craftsman or designer. I'm convinced that he won't choose another profession. This situation is the epitome of where guiding beats opposing. I won't disapprove of his efforts toward becoming a battle armor master. Rather, I'll encourage it. As long as I can convince him that the foundation of a battle armor master stems from being a first-rank blacksmith, it'll be enough to steer him in the right direction. Sure, battle armor masters are the greatest occupations on the continent, but less than 1 in 100 soul masters can walk that path. The requirements are astronomical. Aside from Shrek Academy, who dares say their students will definitely become battle armor masters. Nevertheless, if he advances into a saint blacksmith, his chances of success would be tangible. He's a clever kid. He'll know what choice is best for him. Bearing profound eyes, Douluo stared at Mu Chen with a deep and penetrative gaze. I'm so old now. My mind can't keep up with the latest trends. Maybe you're right. Mu Chen's expression lit up. You can rest at ease. There's no one who wants this kid to be a blacksmith more than me. I'm looking forward to seeing if I can raise a divine blacksmith. Douluo chuckled. You mean like how I, a 7th-rank blacksmith, raised an 8th-rank blacksmith like you? Tang Wuling and his teammates were in high spirits when they descended from the arena. In today's match, Tang Wuling had been able to display his full might in close combat, attaining a swift victory with a blitzkrieg strategy. However, after reviewing the battles from the last few days, he discovered one problem that seemed to plague the entire junior division. The participants had no combat experience. The majority of them weren't able to showcase their true strength in battle. It had been the same in both the individual and team competitions. While the members of Spicy Academy's secondary team were able to use their soul skills during the match, they had performed mechanically without any finesse. Not to mention Wu Zhangkong's level of skill. They couldn't even match Tang Wuling's soul skill proficiency. He could pulverize them with a lower cultivation because they were too green. They were so weak. It looks like soul power isn't that important after all. Shishi came to the same conclusion and was now bursting with confidence. Gu Yue had a pensive expression. It's not that they were weak, but our combat experience outweighed theirs. Xu Shaoan said, that's right. Teacher Wu doesn't teach us the same way as conventional soul master academies do. They focus on imparting knowledge. Even if the schools host combat practice, they do it in the safest way possible. The students just stand there using their soul skills against each other. It's completely different from our real battles. After joining Class 0, Xu Shaoan discovered quickly how far the original trio exceeded her in combat prowess. Because she had yet to train in the Spirit Ascension platform, she had been unable to comprehend the source of their strength. As such, she strived to catch up with them. Coupled with the spars against Wu Zhangkong, she began to understand what made Class 0 so strong. Wu Zhangkong did not go easy on them during combat training. It was normal to finish each session covered in bruises and cuts. His training regimen was incomparable with the normal class's curriculum. Although the growth rate of their soul power settled, their combat strength soared. Shishi immersed himself in thought. The Spicy Alliance has always been inferior to the Central and Western regions in terms of soul master ability. This might be because of different teaching methods and history. Mechas exist now. Normally, anyone with 4 rings or less is no match for a mecha. Most people choose to take the easy way out. As long as their soul power grows to a sufficient level, they can become a mecha pilot. It's a pretty good occupation too. This is also why the majority of students entering an advanced academy choose to join the mecha department to become mecha pilots. Chapter 219, Powerful Opponents. I heard things are different in the center and western regions. Apparently, becoming a battle armor master is a lot more popular there. That's why many of those people choose to walk a pure soul master's path. They don't rush to increase their soul powers blindly. In order to be a battle armor master, it's important to also be a formidable soul master. Because of this mindset, there are more battle armor masters produced by the center and western regions. In their eyes, battle armor masters are the greatest military force on the continent, so they all strive to become one. I believe this difference in perspectives has created the current gap in strength. I think Teacher Wu's teaching methods are similar to the center regions. In fact, they're probably from Shrek Academies in a court. This should be why we're stronger than our peers. Tang Wuling couldn't help but raise a brow at Shishi's theory. How do you know these things? He couldn't believe that this was something Shishi dug up himself. Shishi smirked. When I returned home for vacation, I wanted to play but my old man was bent on testing me. I gave him a nice surprise in the end. After I explained the training we'd been through, he told me about this stuff. My old man is quite perceptive, you know. Tang Wuling nodded. What Uncle said is reasonable. Let's all work hard to become battle armor masters. He extended his hand as he spoke. Gu Yue placed her hand below his. On top were Shishi and Xu Shaoan's hands. The 4 friends smiled at each other, their confidence soaring. Tang Wuling's team was able to attain easy victories in the following 3 matches. There was only one 3-ring opponent that appeared throughout the string of matches. The entire time, Tang Wuling served as the cornerstone of the team. He controlled the battlefield, protected his teammates, and dealt the most damage. Overall, he carried the team. Although his cultivation was weak, his innate divine strength and golden dragon claw made up for it and then some. He had yet to meet a worthy opponent in the team competition. By their 4th win, the other teams in their group had taken notice of them. They were wary of Tang Wuling especially. Tang Wuling's performances had been too dazzling, his attacks too intimidating. He also wielded a purple soul ring. The other teams realized that he always barged through as the vanguard. He kept the opposing team in check while his teammates did their part. As a result, he became a hot topic and a subject of research for those interested in his combat style, techniques, and weaknesses. Tang Wuling had a strict daily schedule. He would rise at the break of dawn to cultivate the purple demon eyes and practice controlling crane, capturing dragon. In the afternoon, he would compete, and at night he would meditate. His days were rich and productive. Actual combat was essential to his cultivation. As Tang Wuling grew more familiar with the basics of controlling crane, capturing dragon, he tried applying it in some of the matches. He couldn't wield it effectively, but his understanding of the technique continued to deepen. Not only was controlling crane, capturing dragon another method of attack, it also improved his control over the soul power compressed by the mysterious heaven method. His priority involved training what little soul power he possessed to burn at 100% each time he summoned it. I heard our opponents today are strong. They're probably the most formidable team in our group. Shishi said to Tang Wuling. Tang Wuling nodded. Man, that's right. It's Sealand Academy's primary team. I heard that they have 2 3-ring soul masters and 1 2-ring soul master. Our group's overall strength is actually pretty low. Sealand Academy's team also has 4 wins in 4 battles so far. The top 4 teams in our group will enter the top 16. We just need to win 1 more match. It's practically settled already. What's the plan for this match? Shishi asked. You should let me show off for once. You've been hogging all the limelight. No one's paying attention to me. Tang Wuling lowered his voice, his words mysterious. The ones who burst out in the end are the trump cards. Those like me are the worst. I can only show my strength in the beginning. A look of astonishment crossed Shishi's face. Really? But all the girls on the other teams only pay attention to you. I don't understand why since I'm more handsome than you. Your skin sure is thick. You aren't even 1/3 as handsome as our captain. Xu Shaoan fought hard to contain her laughter. Shishi's face soured, wrinkling like a prune. I hate people as blunt as you. Anyway, I want to show off a bit. I don't want to be a trump card. Just let me show off how awesome I am. Tang Wuling shrugged. Fine. We'll change our tactics. Although Wu Zhangkong had brought their team here, he gave them free rein to do as they saw fit. He did not impart any advice. Every single strategy that he used had been drafted by Tang Wuling. All this freedom gave Tang Wuling a lot of space to operate. His display of strength in the previous matches were orchestrated to draw the attention away from Shishi and Gu Yue. Since they hadn't faced the strongest team in the tournament yet, they were saving their trump card. For as long as they could, their opponents would be tougher to defeat from now on. In fact, they might even face a Shrek team with Hugh England and Shu Lizzie on it. It was best to focus on hiding his teammates' abilities, using his revealed skills as a veil. Today, they will be facing off against Sealand Academy's primary team. Sealand City was the 3rd largest city in the Sky-Sea Alliance, preceded by East Sea City. It was located 200 kilometers to the north of Sky-Sea City. The city's denizens were valiant and Sealand Academy was famous, even eclipsing the reputation of East Sea Academy. Sealand Academy's 3 representatives were nearing 15 years old. The team was composed of a pair of 3-ring soul masters and 1 2-ringed. Even the 2-ring soul masters' soul power hovered around rank 25 at least. In their previous matches, they had relied on absolute strength to crush their opponents. These adolescents were one of the favorites of the tournament, thought to have a high chance of becoming the champions. Their captain possessed 1,000-year soul ring, but had yet to use it in any of the matches. Its abilities were unknown. Oh right, I ran into an acquaintance of ours earlier, she said with a smirk. Who? Tang Wuling asked. She said, it was our two former classmates, Yangxi and Jingxi. They're in the 4th group. It seems they've been able to win without a hitch, guided by a senior schoolmate. Wang Jingxi and Zhang Yangxi. Tang Wuling trembled at the mention of their names, recalling their battle with the man-faced demon spider together. His heart ached. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have had to leave. I called out to them and chatted. Do you know what Jingxi said? The team he hopes they don't need at all costs is us. She roared with laughter. A gentle sigh escaped from Tang Wuling's lips. If they were still in Class 0, then we would only be one person short of participating in the 7-man team competition. She wiped the smile off of his face. He let out a long sigh. There's no one to blame in this matter. Everyone has their own ambitions. In any case, we're still in Class 0. Let's win today's match for the glory of Class 0. Tang Wuling raised his head, eyes shining with resolution. Victory! Victory! Xu Shaoan and Gu Yue joined in. The arenas used after the start of the round-robin tournament were larger and more secure than their predecessors. Only junior division matches were scheduled for the afternoon. Though the battles were broadcasted, there were still disgruntled spectators in the stands. Perhaps they would pay more attention once the top 16 teams remained. This was just the 3 versus 3 competition, after all. Within Box 1. Box 1 was set aside for officials of Sky Sea City. During important matches, Sky Sea Alliance's big shots would congregate here to watch. For this reason, Box 1 was the largest box. However, Box 1 was desolate this afternoon. It was the junior division's time slot, beginning from the 3-man team battles. Rarely would a high-level match be seen in this division, even. So, the box was not completely empty. 2 people sat on a sofa viewing the matches on the screen. The pair seemed to be in their 50s. One was tall and stalwart with a head full of blazing red hair. His voice was deep, resonating throughout the box the moment he opened his mouth. Brother Tenpeng, your Sealand Academy is really shining this time. The man called Tenpeng was slender with bronzed skin and small, sharp eyes. He smiled humbly. Brother Hoanshan is too modest. Your Sky Sea Academy is number 1 in the Alliance, and no one shakes its position. The 2 were renowned figures among the Soul Masters of the Sky Sea Alliance. The red-haired man was Long Hoanshan, the president of Sky Sea Academy and a 6-ring Soul Emperor. Zhang Tenpeng was the president of Sealand Academy, and although his cultivation was still short of Long Hoanshan's, he too was a Soul Emperor. Brother Tenpeng, what did you call me here today for? Could it be the junior division's competition? Long Hoanshan gazed curiously at Zhang Tenpeng. Zhang Tenpeng nodded. My academy has quite a few talents currently. I wanted to discuss with Brother Hoanshan about granting us 3 quotas this time. Long Hoanshan snapped into attention. Naturally, he knew what quotas Zhang Tenpeng spoke of. Those were the quotas to take Shrek Academy's entrance exam. Chapter 220. Request for the inner court quotas. Unlike other Soul Master academies, Shrek Academy enrolled students once every 3 years. The various alliances and unions on the continent would select their most outstanding talents to apply. Applicants were required to be under 15 years old. There was no minimum soul power prerequisite. However, applicants must show excellence in at least one area. Because the Sky Sea Alliance was known to have inferior Soul Masters compared with other alliances, they received fewer quotas. Each time Shrek's enrollment came around, they were granted about 120 quotas. These 120 quotas would be split between dozens of cities. On average, each city received 2 or 3 of these. As the number 1 academy in the Sky Sea Alliance, Sky Sea Academy kept 20 to itself. Meanwhile, the other academies had to rely on luck and the whims of the alliance. Naturally, Sky Sea Academy had a higher position than other normal academies. Brother Tenpeng, your Sealand Academy has always managed to secure a few quotas with your strength. Why are you asking me for more? Long Hoanshan spoke without batting an eyelash. After a moment of silence, Zhang Tenpeng said, I'm not talking about the normal quotas. I'm asking for the inner court examination ones. Long Hoanshan stared wide-eyed at the request, a powerful aura spilling out of his body. What did you say? The inner court quotas. They were given about 120 ordinary quotas. As for the inner court examination quotas, the entire Sky Sea Alliance was granted 5. This was the same number of fingers on a hand. These 5 quotas were usually monopolized by Sky Sea Academy. It was atypical that one would be given to an outstanding student in another academy. Even then, many conditions and benefits had to be offered as compensation. There was a distinct gap between Shrek Academy's inner and outer courts. Anyone who could become an inner court disciple would be the pride of the entire Sky Sea Alliance. However, several years had passed since someone from the Sky Sea Alliance had entered the inner court. Rarely did Shrek Academy's inner court admit more than 10 people at once. It wasn't an uncommon sight for them to accept none at all. One could imagine how difficult the exam was. Typically, the inner court disciples were promoted from the outer court. Only once in a blue moon would someone matriculate directly into the inner court. Despite this, inner court examination quotas were worth their weight in gold. Possessing this quota was like receiving the backing of the Sky Sea Alliance. Such lucky fellows were guaranteed admittance into the outer court if they failed the inner court examination. Thus, these 5 quotas were precious. They were practically 5 tickets to becoming a future battle armor master. Shrek Academy was very strict on its internal affairs. None of its students could participate in the continent's disputes. Even so, many of the restrictions were lifted after graduation. As long as they didn't tarnish Shrek Academy's name, the outer court graduates could choose their path without interference. Of course, becoming criminals was out of the question. The importance of a future battle armor master recommended by the academy was obvious. Zhang Tenpeng asked for the inner court examination quotas so suddenly. How could Long Hoanshan not be shocked? Brother Hoanshan, hear me out first. I know it's rude to ask this of you, but my students this time are truly excellent. If I didn't believe they could pass the inner court examination, then I wouldn't request this of you. In the end, isn't Sealand Academy a part of the Sky Sea Alliance? Should my students enter the inner court, that would bring glory to the entire alliance. In fact, it might even increase the number of quotas we receive in the future. Shrek Academy had a rule that stated any region whose student had passed the inner court examination would do extra quotas in the future. Long Hoanshan's expression was stern. Brother Tenpeng, you should know that I don't have sole control of the inner court quotas. The decision is up to the alliance. Zhang Tenpeng smiled calmly. He knew that this was just an excuse. Long Hoanshan had no intention of giving up the quotas. How about this, Brother Hoanshan? Watch a few of my disciples' matches first. If they can distinguish themselves in the junior division, perhaps you'll reconsider. We don't have much time until the examinations. In a non-committal manner, Long Hoanshan said, all right, let's see for now then. The screen in box 1 displayed the arena. The 2 competing teams had just entered. On one side was a team of 3 girls. The leader of the 3 stood tall and had sky blue hair. Though no more than 15 years old, she was slender, bearing the elegant charms of a lady. To her left was a girl whose appearance mirrored hers. Only the shade of her hair, light green like meadow, was different. Such a hair color was few and far in between. The contrast between their identical faces and different hair tones drew Long Hoanshan's attention. Long Hoanshan understood his old friend and knew that Zhang Tenpeng would not speak without thinking. Since he made such a request, he must hold utmost confidence in his disciples. Apart from the twins, the remaining girl had a head of blonde hair. Her figure was thin and she towered over her teammates. She looked like a bean sprout and her bright eyes were striking. The blonde one is Wang Dongqi. Her martial soul is the Thunderflash sword. She has 3 rings and is a rank 32 assault type soul master. The blue-haired one and green-haired one are twin sisters. They are Jo Hanyo and Jo Tiana, respectively. Jo Hanyo has 3 rings and is at rank 31. Jo Tiana has 2 rings at rank 27. Zhang Tenpeng introduced his 3 disciples briefly. Long Hoanshan nodded in approval. He studied their competition statistics and was alarmed, sucking in a deep breath. He was not surprised that Sealand Academy's team had 4 victories in the round-robin tournament. Yet, their opponents from East Sea Academy also had 4 wins. Moreover, it was East Sea Academy's tertiary team. Although East Sea City was large, it was not blessed by talents often. As such, East Sea Academy ranked slightly below the median. The fact that their tertiary team accumulated these victories added to Long Hoanshan's disbelief. A single glance was needed to see how young they were. Have you paid any attention to this team from East Sea Academy, Brother Tenpeng? Long Hoanshan asked. A strange expression slithered its way across Zhang Tenpeng's face. He gave a slight nod. I watched them for a bit. That team is really peculiar. Although they're really young, their combat strength is extraordinary. Oh. Long Huanshan directed a look of inquiry at him. He understood his friend's high standards, aware that such an evaluation would not be given lightly. East Sea Academy's tertiary team is composed completely of 10-year-olds. Their captain is called Tang Wulin and he only has one ring. That being said, it's a 1,000-year ring. In the previous matches, he was able to fend off the combined attacks of his opponents alone. His martial soul is supposedly blue silver brass, though it is likely a variant. His body strength is extraordinary and his right hand can transform into a dragon's claw. From my observations, he shouldn't have twin martial souls. I haven't seen a second ring appear yet. Maybe it's one of those rare soul bones. If Long Huanshan was surprised a moment ago, then now he was in denial. Zhang Sanpeng actually paid so much attention to East Sea's tertiary team. The understanding between Zhang Sanpeng and Long Huanshan went both ways. A smile appeared on Zhang Sanpeng's lips as he stared at Long Huanshan, fully aware of his friend's thoughts. You'll understand once the match begins. These kids aren't normal by any means. If they hadn't met my team, then they would have continued their winning streak most likely. East Sea Academy must have recruited an amazing teacher. Otherwise, how else could they have raised such astounding talents? Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.